Good morning, family. Today is day 35 in our 40 days of prayer journey together. Our prayer focus today is, if we can do the ordinary, God may add an extra to it. Now, what in the world does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Lean in a bit. Come on, a little closer. Listen up, because here we go. The scripture reference for today is Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10, which states, "For who has despised the day of small things?" You remember who Zechariah is, right? He is a big deal, even though he's a minor prophet. Insert a little laughing emoji right here, please. Zechariah was one of the three prophets, along with Haggai and Malachi, who ministered to the exiles returning from Jerusalem. These exiles faced the ruins of what had once been a splendid city and the glorious Solomon's temple. There was much to be sad about, and this was their small beginnings. But Zechariah encouraged the exiles with visions of judgment on Israel's enemies and on the complete restoration of the city of Jerusalem. Like I said, he was a big deal. So far, I've mentioned today's prayer focus, and then the scripture reference. And next, today's chapter title caught my attention when I first read it, The Longest Lever. Why? Well, because I'm an engineer, a structural engineer of steel buildings, small ones and large ones, and I kind of understand the concept and mechanics of what a lever actually is. A lever is considered or categorized as a simple machine. A common definition is that a lever system needs a rigid beam resting on a fulcrum somewhere along the beam's length. Then some amount of effort exerted on one end of the beam can move the load at the opposite end of the beam. Mark Batterson, our book's author, states that a lever amplifies the input force to provide a greater output force. And this is true also of levers, that the longer the lever or the lever arm, the greater the leverage one can create. A quick few examples of levers so you have a visual idea in your mind of what a lever might be. One example would be like a teeter-totter, or a hammer pulling out a nail, or a pair of scissors, and even a bottle open. They all employ the mechanics of a lever. So why am I spending this much time on what a lever is? Because when you understand it better, you can start seeing it in action in your daily life. Yes, in the physical world we live in, like the examples I just mentioned, like a hammer pulling out a nail. But also, you can imagine levers working in the spiritual realm as well. When we kneel in prayer, God can leverage us in ways that are humanly impossible. Remember that lever arm I mentioned a bit ago? Imagine the distance from here on earth all the way out to where God is. Now that's a long lever arm to amplify the output force of our prayers. So let me wrap all this up in a bow for you. If we can commit to doing the ordinary, like praying daily, whatever silent or out loud prayer it may be, God may add an extra to it. How is that? Because he has the ability with his long lever arm to truly amplify our prayers. What we may think is a small prayer now, remember the small beginnings Zechariah mentioned? Well, our small prayers can be transformed into something larger and better than we could have asked or imagined because of God's long lever of amplifying whatever he chooses. So thanks for using your time wisely in prayer, and the Way Fellowship desires your prayer life will be changed for the better because of the time you've spent in prayer, speaking to your Creator over the past several weeks and the weeks to come. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may you remain forever in his mighty grip.